Ever seen a man everyone laughed at, until one single moment turned silence into respect? Stay till the end, because what this single dad veteran did with one shot will give you chills. And hey, if you love stories that prove second chances and strength still exist, make sure to like this video and subscribe, because this one's going to hit your heart. The sun was low that morning, painting the shooting range in faded amber. A few local marksmen were already gathered, their laughter echoing through the empty hills. They were the town's best shooters, each wearing custom gear, their rifles shining like trophies. Then, a dusty old truck pulled up. The engine coughed, and out stepped a man in worn jeans and a faded army jacket. His name was Ethan Cole, a single dad, veteran of 3 tours, and lately, a man trying to find his footing again in civilian life. People barely noticed him as he unloaded a simple old rifle, one he'd used in training years ago. No fancy optics, no special grip, just the weapon he'd carried across deserts and nightmares. He wasn't there to show off, he just wanted to breathe again, to feel that peace he used to find in the rhythm of his aim. "Hey old man," one of the younger shooters called out, grinning. "You sure you're in the right place? This isn't a museum." Laughter followed. Ethan didn't respond, he just smiled softly and laid his rifle down on the bench. Years in service had taught him to stay silent under ridicule. He'd seen too much, lost too much, to let mockery touch his pride. At the other end of the range stood Blake Turner, the reigning state shooting champion, young, cocky, and loud. His jacket carried patches of sponsors and medals. To everyone there, Blake was a star. And when he saw Ethan, his grin widened. "You sure you can handle that old relic, Grandpa?" he said, shouldering his custom rifle. "Don't want you to pull a muscle." Again, Ethan said nothing. But in that silence, his daughter Lily, only 10 years old, looked up at him from the sidelines. She had come along because she didn't like staying home alone. Her small hands clutched a worn-out teddy bear, the one her dad had brought from overseas. "Dad," she whispered, "you don't have to prove anything." Ethan smiled and brushed a strand of hair from her face. "I know, sweet pea. But sometimes, life gives you moments to remind yourself who you are." Blake fired first. Each shot was clean, sharp, and loud. The crowd clapped. His grouping was tight, perfect center mass. "Beat that," he said proudly, blowing imaginary smoke off the barrel. Ethan took a deep breath. The world around him seemed to fade, the wind, the laughter, even the smell of gunpowder. He could hear his heartbeat, steady and calm. His memories flickered. The desert heat, his brothers in arms, the loss that never left him. He raised the rifle. The first shot cracked through the air, and then silence. When the dust settled, every head turned toward the target. His bullet had hit dead center, splitting Blake's previous record hole clean in 2. The crowd blinked, then gasps. The instructor walked downrange to check, shaking his head in disbelief. "That's impossible," he muttered. He broke the record. Blake's smile vanished. "Lucky shot," he snapped. Ethan didn't argue. He reloaded. One after another, his next shots landed with the same eerie precision. Perfect. Dead center. Each round was a message, not of arrogance, but of control, discipline, and quiet strength. When he was done, he stepped back, lowered the rifle, and gave it a small pat, like greeting an old friend after years apart. Someone from the crowd finally spoke. "Who are you?" Ethan's gaze was distant. "Just someone who used to do this for people who never got the chance to. Come home." Blake stepped forward, pride shattered but respect dawning. "You were military." Ethan nodded. "Delta Force." A heavy silence followed. Even Blake, who had mocked him minutes earlier, straightened up and extended his hand. "Sir, that was incredible." Ethan shook his hand humbly. "It's not about being incredible. It's about never forgetting what you were trained to do, and why." Later that evening, as the sun disappeared behind the trees, Ethan sat on the tailgate of his truck with Lily beside him. She leaned her head on his shoulder. "Dad, they were all watching you," she said softly. "You showed them." He smiled faintly. "I didn't do it to show them, honey. I did it to remind myself that I still can. No matter how far you fall, some parts of you never die, they just wait for you to pick them up again." Lily hugged him tightly, and for the first time in a long while, Ethan felt something he hadn't felt since the war, peace. As they drove off, the range lights flickered behind them. Word would spread fast, About the quiet veteran who came out of nowhere and broke the champion's record with a rifle older than most of the shooters there. But to Ethan, that didn't matter. What mattered was the look in his daughter's eyes, pride, not in what he shot, but in who he was. And maybe, that was the real victory. So if you're watching this and you've ever been ignored, laughed at, or doubted, remember Ethan. Remember that silence can be powerful, and that your time to prove yourself doesn't expire. It just waits for the right moment. If this story touched your heart, give it a like, and subscribe for more true strength stories that remind us, respect isn't claimed with noise but earned in silence.